Hi, it's Alex Counts again. This will be my third of 3 videos on public speaking for nonprofit leaders. One of my board chairs said to me, when you're communicating with people, especially with our board, you should start with your conclusion. And that's not what a lot of people do. If you're telling a story, you kind of go through all the pieces of the story and then you end up with your conclusion, the moral of the story, people say. In his case, especially today, the way people consume information, they want to know up front where you're going. They want to know the end, the conclusion, the moral of the story up front. So I kind of took that to heart, and it seemed to relax people. It seemed to, they knew where I was going, and then they could follow along. Did the story reinforce my basic point? Yes or no? And if it did, it seemed to resonate with them more. So in my book talks, one of my main points was that you should never, ever, ever ask for money or anything important hesitantly or apologetically. And so I would start with that, and then I told a story over several minutes that reinforced that. And it seemed to work very well rather than building up to that message. So start with your conclusion. Body language. A lot of people, public speakers, when they talk, they do things that distract people. They play with the mic sometimes. They shift back their weight back and forth on their foot. They play with a rubber band just as for nervous energy reasons, whatever. It's distracting. Look at a video of yourself sometime. I don't love to do it, but it really is helpful. What are the things you do with your body that distract people from what you're saying, what you're trying to communicate? And then try to develop some signature things you do in your body language that reinforce what you're saying. For example, if I say something to a group that is not obviously intuitive, it's almost counterintuitive, I sometimes say it and then I'll kind of do this like I'm even confusing myself, so it's all right for you as the audience to be confused. But then I talk about why, while counterintuitive, it can be powerful. Now, when you tell a story in your talks, which should be a good part of what you do is tell stories to evoke people empathy and a desire to act. Sometimes you need to play with the chronology. I used to tell a story of a woman who had overcome a lot of problems in her life and tragedies in the Philippines. But the way I ended the story for the first few times I told it, it almost ended on a negative note. And so I had to change the chronology a little bit so that it ended up uplifting. It had more of the effect that I intended. Now, I said earlier in another video, kind of dramatic pauses can be very powerful. I do agree with that. But in general, just slowing down. A lot of people talk too fast. It's because they're nervous. Maybe they know the material so well, it's obvious to them, but not necessarily to the people they're talking to. So slow down. Now, don't get too slow because it can put people to sleep, but try to talk at kind of a conversational kind of rate and cadence, and that tends to work best. If you can work in something that'll amuse people, laugh, I think that audiences that laugh, they get relaxed and they're more open for new information. But don't force it. Don't tell the same joke in the first 5 minutes of your remarks over and over and over as some people do. But as you're playing with a point that you want to make in your talk, going through it in your head as you practice from your, speaking from your outline, but doing it more extemporaneously. Sometimes you'll do that and you'll come up with a formulation that it has a kind of a clever, witty thing with it. Go for it. I find 80% of the time it really works. 20% it doesn't, that's not so bad. Now, if you spend some time talking to people, you're probably going to want to give them a chance to ask questions, challenge you, comment. When you get asked a question, what I often do is I'll repeat the question. It serves basically 3 purposes. One is it makes sure everyone hears, because your microphone may be turned on louder than theirs. They may not even have one. Second of all, it allows you to kind of subtly reshape the question, reframe it really. Maybe you want it more narrow or more broad than the questioner intended, because it'll work better for what you're trying to do. And third is it gives you maybe 5, 10, 15 seconds to think about what you want to say, because you don't want to just kind of go off in a direction, stream of consciousness, and waste a lot of time before you really get to what you want to say. So thinking about how you can most directly answer the question while also conveying what you're trying to the audience. Again, a few seconds can make a difference. Good luck applying these. I've included these and other ideas, success strategies for public speaking for nonprofit leaders in my 2 books, Changing the World Without Losing Your Mind and When in Doubt, Ask for More. And just hopefully you apply these to great effect, and let me know how it goes. Bye-bye.